Bam.
Flexin Mega.
Oh God, say that again.
Flexin. Banamine.
Somebody,
Banamine.
please go in the comments.
Banamine.
And sound this out for Jonas. Alright guys, so today's video is going to be about everything you need before, not when your goat is in labor, but before your goat has baby. This is everything that you need to have purchased and talked to a veterinarian about to make sure that you have your hands on it and it is on the property with the goat before the goat goes into labor. Now, we'll pull out an item and Jonas is going to tell us what that item is for, and we're going to talk a little bit about that item. So the first item that we're going to pull out is... what do you need these for? What is it? First off, what is this?
So this right here is a potty pad. Now you've got a couple different options whenever you're getting these. Either A, you can get a puppy potty pad and pay an absolute insane amount of money for it. Or you can go to Sam's Club and get incontinence pads for adults. And that's gonna save you a bunch of money. This is great whenever we first have baby goats born. You have a couple different options for setup. You can either A, take a large tote, or B, if you have the pack and play on hand, that works wonderful too. Just putting this on the bottom of that will keep it a whole lot more sanitary and clean for your baby goats. And it makes cleanup super easy. You can just pull one out every couple hours whenever they poop and use the bathroom, and then replace it on the regular.
And some people want to use bath towels. That's absolutely disgusting. All the goop and disgustingness that's going to be coming out of those goats, you do not want to stick them inside of the washing machine afterwards. Just use these. You can dispose of them. Don't leave them in the enclosure with the goats because you don't want the goats chewing them, but just keep them nearby so that when the goat is having babies, you can run grab a pack of these. They're super absorbent. And like Jonas said, you go to Sam's Club, whenever you're checking out, just tell the people that, you know, they're for someone else. Like whenever Jonas and I go to get them, I always let the cashier know that these are for Jonas because he's incontinent, right?
No,
I love that. Yeah.
And he said don't leave them inside the enclosure with the goats. He's talking about the adult goats. Obviously, it's fine for them to be in the enclosure with baby goats. That's what they're for. Just don't leave them in with your adult goats unattended.
They understood that, I think, hopefully. So next item is similar, but also equally important. Bam! What is this, Jonas?
Rubber gloves. Very important to keep everything sanitary. Firstly, you don't want that nastiness on your hand. If there is a situation to where maybe you have a breech baby goat and you have to go inside that mom to pull the baby out, you want everything to be super, super sanitary to reduce the potential for infection or anything else bad that could happen from your dirty hands going inside. So always wear gloves. It's best for you and for the goats.
And make sure your hand is dry. If your hand is super dry when you go to put these gloves on, they coat on a whole lot easier. If you wash your hands and then try to put on gloves, just that humidity and moisture is hard to put them on. Get a large glove. Typically, most people need the large gloves just to be able to quickly put them on, and change them a lot. Like if you're helping a baby, helping clean a baby up, and then you go and you touch something else like some dirty bedding, always change into a fresh pair of gloves before you touch the next baby. Or if you, God forbid, have to go inside to help the mother deliver, always have lots of gloves and change them frequently. Let's see what the next item is going to be. It is going to be, what is this?
Vitamin B.
Why do you need vitamin B, Jonas?
Vitamin B is good to have on hand.
Sometimes after they have the baby, and I knew you were going to struggle with this because it's really not something, we don't use it all the time. I like to have it on hand. If the mother has the baby and we're not there with her, sometimes they'll eat the placenta and sometimes it can cause some digestive upset. And you also want to make sure that, you know, during labor, like the day before labor and the day after labor, they're eating well and their appetite is high. Sometimes goats will get super kind of distracted and they'll forget, oh yeah, I got to eat. And this just encourages eating. You don't need a veterinary prescription for this. You can get it online or you can get it at Tractor Supply or Rural King, wherever you are. And you just want to make sure that it has thiamine in it. The thiamine hydrochloride is actually what's going to increase their appetite. And a lot of the times when goats are having stressful times, the levels of thiamine and vitamin B will drop in their system. And so having this to give just if the mother's not performing at her top best is absolutely amazing. I think it was $20 for this bottle. So why not have it on hand? Just
and
make
really,
sure.
It's a good medication to have, not exclusively for pregnant goats either.
What is that timer for?
Apologies for interrupting your cute animal content, but I hope you'll forgive me once you hear that you can actually meet and stay with the very same cute animals that you're watching right now. That's right, you can stay at our Airbnb on the farm and animal sanctuary. Not only will you be provided with luxury amenities like a hot tub, fancy schmancy coffee, a bidet if you're feeling brave, and remote control everything, but you'll also get to hang out with the 150 plus animals that call Goat Daddy's home, including Abu the camel, Norris the cow, Piper the Quadamundi, the crazy macaws, obviously the goats, and every single animal in between. Check the description to book your stay today. Now back to the video.
Anytime we have a goat that isn't eating, whether it's a pregnant doe or just a standard milking doe or some other doe that we might have, having this on hand is really, really wonderful because it does promote appetite, like Jason said.
Yes, so always have this on hand, but especially for goats if you're expecting. Our next item is going to be...
What do we got here? CMPK drench. Now, if I remember right, this is for hypocalcemia, right?
Yes.
Yep. CMPK D3 drench is an oral calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, and vitamin D supplement.
Yep, so a lot of the time, if you have a goat that goes into labor, all of the calcium during those last 2 months of pregnancy, the goat's body will actually pull calcium out from inside of the mother's bones and use that for the baby. Because those calcium levels drop, the mothers will get what's called hypocalcemic. And you can give this to them orally. That means they swallow it. You can mix it with their food. And you can even give this as a preventative before the days leading up to pregnancy. This is something that you want to be careful with dosing. This bottle is actually designed to stick it inside of a cow's mouth and give the entire contents to a cow, but it's got the instructions on it for what you would use for a goat. This is another product, does not require a prescription. You can get it at most feed stores, and it's a cheap product. I want to say it's around $10 for this bottle right here. So why not have it on hand and then just go through? It expires, it lasts about 2 years, so just keep it in the cabinet just in case, to make sure that you always have it, just in case you need it. Goats are always going to go into labor at the worst possible time. You want to have everything you need. This is a product that I've used on many occasions. Always keep that on hand.
And just as another kind of side note, a goat becoming hypocalcemic is something that can happen pretty commonly if they're not getting enough calcium. So one thing that we do as a goat is getting closer to her expected due date, we will give her more alfalfa pellets and more alfalfa hay. It has a higher calcium content in it compared to the coastal hay that they're typically eating. So that's another kind of preventative step that you can take that will help reduce the chance of your goat getting hypocalcemic. Why is hypocalcemic so hard to say?
It is a hypocalcemia and hypocalcemic. It's a weird word.
Yeah, very much so.
So this one right here is for mother and babies. I'll say that. Bam.
Thermometer. Knowing the temperature of your goats can be very, very important, especially if you're going into a colder time of year and say your mom goes into labor, you're not there with her, she has babies, the babies are out in the cold, and you know how long they've been out there. You're not sure if they are getting, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hypothermic?
Hypothermic.
Everything is hypo. Hypo is less, too little of. So the temperature is too low. So hypo means
hypothermic.
less.
So you can get a temp on your babies to make sure that they're at a good temperature and see if you need to quickly get them heated up, or if you've got a little bit more time that you can take just to make sure the mom is good and that sort of thing.
So when people call us, and it's people that we've never met before, they get our number off the internet or they get our number from somewhere and they call us and they say, I've got this baby, I went outside, it was super cold, it's super cold, I don't know what to do, I'm trying to feed it a bottle. If you're trying to feed a bottle to a goat that's body temperature is 95, you can literally kill the goat by doing that. The first and most important thing is to get that goat's temperature to 100 degrees. How do you use this for the mom? What's the use of this for the mom? Why would you use this on the mom?
Why?
So after she has babies, if she's got something like a retained placenta or she's got any type of internal infection going on, you're gonna wanna be able to take her temperature. This is the single most important tool if you're a goat keeper, just because you can't do anything if you don't know what the goat's temperature is. That's gonna be the first question any vet asks, any mentor, anybody is gonna ask you is gonna be, what's the goat's temperature? All right, what's our next item? I cheated a little bit, I looked first. Bam.
Flexin Meg.
Oh God, say that again.
Flexin. Banamine.
Somebody,
Banamine.
please go in the comments.
Banamine.
And sound this out for Jonas.
Look, I just call it Banamine. I do.
Say it again. Sound it out.
Flunixin.
Megalamine. Yes.
Or Banamine. Banamine is a more common name that people call it by. So Banamine is great. It's essentially like a painkiller. And it will reduce the temperature of an animal as well.
And anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory as well. Yep.
So if you can imagine, if you're having to go in a goat and help with pulling the babies out, and also just if they have any tearing or a difficult labor, you're going to want to be able to give them something afterwards to ease that pain. Now, our Banamine that we have is prescribed to us by a veterinarian. You do have to get a prescription for that, but Banamine is going to be a great all-around use. If you have a goat that hurts its leg, a goat that gets a cut on it, any issue with a goat where that goat might be suffering from pain, you're going to want to be able to have some Banamine for it. This is about $20 for a bottle, so there's no reason not to have this on hand. You're going to spend more consulting with the veterinarian than you are going to be getting the prescription. So we get it from Chewy Pharmacy, and they send the prescription directly into our veterinarian. veterinarian, and they send it to us through the mail. Banamine, Flunix, and Meglumine. It's 1 cc per 100 pounds. You can do IV, IM, or sub-Q, but it does have to be given under the skin in goats, and it's absolutely amazing. I have gone through bottles of this stuff. Anytime a goat looks like it doesn't even feel good, we will give this some of it, and it's absolutely amazing for a goat person.
Now there's a little bit of a caveat to that, right? Because you can only give it so many doses.
So obviously consult with your veterinarian. You don't want to use Banamine for over 3 days in a row. After 3 days, it is an NSAID. So if you take any medicines yourself, any painkillers for back pain or something like that, you know that an NSAID causes issues with your stomach. So if you use it for over 72 hours, it can cause ulcers or some damage to the lining inside of the goat's stomach. And honestly, if you're using it for more than 1 or 2 days and you're not seeing any improvement and you feel like you have to use it the 3rd day, you really need to start some diagnostics with a veterinarian to figure out what's going on. There is instances where you will use it for more than 3 days, but that is always going to be a consult with a veterinarian situation. We just use it. A goat hurts its leg and it's limping a little bit and it's not a break or anything serious. We might give it an injection of Banamine, and typically within the next day, it's 100% better. It's kind of like aspirin, but for goats. Our next item.
Cairo syrup. This is for if a goat starts to go into ketosis. So that's something, once again, goats are very susceptible to, as they're putting a lot of energy into the baby that is growing inside of them, or in some case, babies, multiple of them. Goats can go into ketosis if they're not getting enough food. So this is kind of an easy fix, and also another easy preventative. You can just, a couple days before your goats are going into labor, give them, 10 cc's of this. You're not gonna overdose them on the Cairo syrup unless you're giving them the whole bottle. But just a 10 cc syringe once a day, a couple days before they go into labor, can help reduce the potential for ketosis. Another thing you can do, and this might be another item that you actually have.
Yes, don't say it. Don't say it. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
I'm not going to say it.
So with the Cairo syrup, it's something that you can also, you can drench them with it. So you put it in the cheek. You don't want them to choke on it because it's a very thick liquid. So even if Jonas does gives them a goat 10 cc's, he might do 2 cc's, let them swallow, 2 cc's, let them swallow. Now with some of our goats, we've actually mixed it with the grain and they've eaten it with the grain. I guess it has like a sweet taste to it. So if you can get them to eat it, anytime you have to force something down a goat, you're running the risk of inhalation pneumonia. So we always try to get them to eat it on their own before just forcing it down them. So I am cheating on this one. Bam.
These are ketone test strips. So you can actually utilize some of your goat's urine and put it on one of these test strips, and it'll tell you if your goat is going into ketosis or not. It's got a little chart right here with the different colors and what those colors mean. It can kind of give you a gauge as to whether or not your goats may be close to going into ketosis, or if they're totally in the clear and it's not even something you have to worry about.
And the way that we test for this, the way that we get the urine to be able to test for this, and you can use the saliva, the blood, or the urine. The way we do it is we just literally will walk around behind the goat. As soon as they start to use the bathroom, we just stick a bucket up under them so that we capture a little bit of urine, and we have this container in our pocket so that we can test it real quick, and it just lets us know if there's any ketones present. If there are ketones present in the urine, then you'll go ahead and dose them with some of this. Now, keto in humans and people, we will intentionally go into ketosis because we want to lose weight. Now, when that happens in a goat, that means that the goat is not properly getting what it needs. Those ketones are poisoning it. So you don't want a goat to be producing ketones at all, especially during pregnancy, because that means that they're lacking that sugar, that sugar that they need. A few of these are going to be obvious. This is our last medication, and I will say the keto strips are available at pretty much any drugstore, and they're also about $10. And the Cairo syrup is available at just about all grocery stores, and this is probably about $5. Now, this right here is a really important one that you're going to want to have, but you're going to want to consult, read a lot, research a lot on the internet before you start injecting your goat with this. This is to be given unless you got a vet there monitoring you. You would just give this sub-Q, but I'm going to let Jonas, sorry, I was stealing your spotlight.
Yeah, it's another medication for if a goat is going into hypocalcemia. It's another medication that you can give comparatively to the CMPK.
So, and all this is calcium gluconate solution. No prescription needed for this. You can get it from Tractor Supply, most feed stores, and no prescription needed, $10 to $20 a bottle. The goat dosage, there's tons of information online about it. What we did was we did 50 cc's injected in 4 different spots, and then you wait and see pretty quickly. You see an improvement in the goat. If the goat has hypocalcemia, you see a pretty quickly response to that. They improve pretty quickly. And you can also give that orally to a goat because they really just need that calcium. So you can give that orally as well. It's just straight up calcium just to make sure that they're good to go, to be able to feed those kids, produce the milk, and walk and everything like that they need to be able to do for their babies. This one is going to be one of everyone's favorite. Now, this is one that you guys have seen a lot, and I'd say it's part of what made us famous
made the
on the
goats
internet.
famous.
Made the goats
Not so
famous
much
on
us.
the internet. This is is a very important thing. There's 2 different brands of it. Let's talk a lot about how important it is to get the name brand one.
Yes.
Bam, bam, nipples!
Specifically, Pritchard Nipples is the name brand that you're really going to want to make sure you have this. And then also make sure you have some sort of bottle to put it on. We find that Coke bottles or Sprite bottles work the best, or even those little small 12-ounce Dr. Pepper bottles. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. Y'all have seen all the videos. You know what bottles that we use. But you want to make sure you get the brand, the actual Pritchard nipple ones. They're not all that much more expensive comparatively to your non-name brand ones. And the non-name brand ones will have all sorts of issues. It's not the right type of like rubber material, so it's really easy for the goats to just bite through it. Then you have way more milk coming out than what's intended. And also these have got this little, it's like a ball bearing on the inside that kind of acts as a float valve that prevents all the milk from just pouring out. And a lot of the kind of off-brand ones won't have that inside. So make sure you spend, a couple extra bucks, get the name brand one, and make sure you order a couple weeks ahead of time, because you have to order these from the site, if I remember right, and it takes a little while for them to get there. So make sure a month beforehand you're planning ahead, knowing babies are coming, and ordering some of these. And don't get just one, because goats can have anywhere from 1 to 5 babies at a time. And if you have 5 babies, you might want to build a bottle rack feeder like we've built and feed your babies on that. It's a whole lot easier than feeding them one by one. It takes 5 minutes to feed 5 baby goats at once, comparatively to 25 minutes if you're having to feed them 1 bottle at a time.
And I think it's valleyvet.com, caprainesupply.com.
Right, yep.
The ones that you get on Amazon are not the name brand ones. The Pritchard name brands are going to be your best ones, and I want to say they're about $3 each, maybe a little bit more than that. We order 10 or 20 at a time, and we always have these on hand. I will say that one time it was nighttime when we had baby goats born, and the mother wasn't feeding them. We had 2 moms. The mother wasn't taking care of them. We were going to have to bottle feed them, and I had nipples, but I did not have the bottle that you put the nipples on, and Jonas had to run to the grocery store and get us Coke bottles or Dr. Pepper bottles at like 10 p.m. because we didn't have any bottles, because we're all water drinkers, so we didn't have any bottles to put it on. So make sure that you get this working. Go ahead and cut it before, and make sure you got the right drip. You just kind of use a little razor blade and cut the tip of this. There's lots of videos online about how to properly cut these to make sure that it's only letting a little bit of milk come out, so it's not running down the baby goat's face. But go ahead and learn how to use these before you get baby goats. Do not wait until they're born before you do any of this stuff. Do it when you consider the mom being pregnant. When you think the mom's pregnant, get this. All right. Last 2 items, kind of self-explanatory, but I felt like we needed to say this because a lot of people might not have these on hand, and none of these injectables are any good without these 2 things.
You've got a needle, a couple different needles right here, and then a syringe right here. And I'm actually going to add on to this a little bit. So right here, Jason's got a 10 milliliter syringe, and these are the 18 gauge needles that you got here?
Yes.
Yeah, so 18 gauge needles. Personally, we like to have a variety of different size needles and syringes on hand. So we've got 3C syringes, 5cc syringes, and then the 10cc syringes. And then we've got 18, 20, and 22 gauge needles. Obviously, if you're working with something like a baby goat, you're gonna wanna use a smaller gauge needle. That way it just feels like a bug biting the baby as opposed to a massive needle going inside them. All right, guys, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. The camera cut off for one reason or another. Not really sure what happened. But like I was saying, Exceed is one of the most common medications that we'll give around here. It's not listed in today's video just because you typically won't need it. It's another one that's vet prescribed. But that is a super, super thick solution. It is just about impossible to try to push through a 22 gauge needle. So you pretty much have to have an 18 gauge needle. Otherwise, you're stuck with this needle inside your goat for like 5 minutes as you're trying to push the medication through. So in addition to these, make sure you've got a good variety of different size syringes, different size needles. I like to have some of them with the lure lock on, and then some of them that are just made for oral medication.
And some things that we didn't note today that I bought before we had our first baby goats born that we have never used are kid pullers. So if you look online for goat supply kits, you'll see kid pullers, and that's something that's used to put inside of the mother goat, where you latch it around the baby goat and you can pull it out. Probably 200 plus babies our moms have delivered babies here, and we have never used kid pullers. We've delivered goats from Nigerian dwarf goats all the way up to massive Nubian goats, and we have never once had to use a kid puller. You can always, and from what I've seen, get your hand in there to be able to do what needs to be done. Now, all this being said, all this is great, but I will tell you the story of our first troublesome delivery, and that was Isabel Blue. She's luckily still with us now. She's 12 years old. She's retired. She'll live out the rest of her life here at the farm, but she was a very small Nigerian dwarf goat. She had babies the first time, did totally fine. We bred her again. She was about 4 years old, and she had those babies on Sunday night. It was a Sunday night in February, Super Bowl Sunday, in fact, and we couldn't get a hold of anybody. There was no emergency vets here. We couldn't get a hold of anyone, and our veterinarian finally, I was able to get a hold of her. I was texting and calling her like crazy, and she called me back and she was like, "Jason, you just got to get those babies babies out, and she actually walked me through being able to pull those babies out, and it was absolutely horrifying. Now, at that point in time, I was happy that I had a vet that could talk me through it on the phone, but I will tell you right now that we lucked out with that situation. If you're in a situation where a goat needs a C-section or a goat is not responding to the medications or to the treatment that you're doing, you're going to want to be able to get that goat to a veterinarian ASAP. So before you start doing anything with breeding goats or even owning goats, find you a livestock veterinarian and just explain to them what you're doing. Send them emails, just talk to them, create some type of relationship with them so that on those emergency situations you can get to them. We hear all these horror stories about people who have goats that are having babies and they don't get out there and help them, and these goats die after days of being in labor, and it's absolutely horrendous.
How long should a goat be in labor for?
So once
at what point should you start being worried and contacting a veterinarian if your goat's been in labor and there's still no babies coming out?
Once a goat starts pushing, and you can tell when they're pushing. When they're pushing, they're screaming, they're moaning, their entire body contracts and gets tight. And once those babies are in that birth canal and coming out, she's pushing and she is in pain. And if there's no motion, no movement within about 20 to 30 minutes, that's when you have to act. So if that mom has been pushing for 20 to 30 minutes and no babies are coming out, you're not seeing anything come out of that mom, there's an issue. And that might mean that you just need to go in barely up to your wrist and just push one little baby back so the other one can make its way out. But it could also mean that those babies are too big, or there's something wrong with the mom where she can't deliver those babies. So if you can't get in and figure it out within about 30 minutes to an hour, then you really need to be rushing that goat to a veterinarian. Don't let them sit there for 3 days and slowly die a painful death. Get them to a veterinarian.
And Jason, one more thing that I noticed that you didn't bring out. Or are you realizing what it is?
Pack and play.
Not the pack and play.
Bottle rack.
Nope.
What?
It's in a spray bottle.
Vinegar.
Nope.
Iodine.
I
can't believe I
How
forgot
can you forget
that.
Iodine.
Oh my goodness, I sure did. And scissors.
Scissors too. Dental floss.
Dental floss.
Jason, you're
okay,
slacking.
there's never going to be any complete list for animal care. So it's going to be up to you to make sure that you research and look at a bunch of different areas and a bunch of different sources for your information to make sure that your goat's getting the best care. Dental floss, we use that to tie the umbilical cord about 3 inches away from the baby. If there's any blood or anything, we also use iodine in a spray bottle. Because their hooves, when they're first born, are soft and they can actually absorb bacteria through their hooves, we'll spray their hooves with iodine. And then we also spray their umbilical cords with iodine just to make sure that they're not absorbing any bacteria from goats using the bathroom, things like that. And I didn't even talk about like constipation. The first feces that comes out of the babies is a dark, I guess that's for
This is a whole nother video.
Yeah, that's a whole other video.
Let us know if y'all want to see the video.
Well,
Because
hey.
honestly, we were talking about birthing technique too, and like moments where you realize you have to step in. That's another video. The first 3 days of a baby goat's life. I feel like it's another video.
Well, it's really crazy that we're doing this video right now and Miranda's due to have babies next week. So maybe our next video, let us know down below, guys, if y'all think that we should do a birthing video and actually show you what we do for the babies when they're born and after they're born, as well as what you do for the mom.
And we'll have to be careful about that because sometimes that type of kind of graphic content can get flagged. So it might be a blurred out version that we post on YouTube, but our Patreon, we post like everything.
And we can post all that on Patreon?
Yeah, we can post all of it on Patreon.
Okay, so yeah, the full video, it's already decided. The full video is going to be on Patreon, so check us out on Patreon. Thank you guys for watching this video. We really hope that this is helping you and this is good information. Going into breeding goats, we didn't have a whole lot of resources. Now it seems like the internet is flooded with information, some of it right, some of it wrong. So we're trying to be your source of correct information to make sure that you have an easy goating career. So if there's anything you'd like to see, type it down below and let us know.
We actually recently just had another goat farmer visit, and one thing that she said that I really liked was after attending one of her classes, you should not leave with more answers. You should leave with more questions, more good questions. So please know that this video is just a starting point. It's very important to do your own research, look at multiple sources, consult with your own veterinarian, and figure out what's going to be best for you, your goats, and your whole setup. Consider this as a launching point as you go out and get ready for your goat going into labor.
Yeah, these are just the basics. Thank you guys so much, and yeah, comment down below and let us know what you think, and please hit that bell and subscribe and do all that other stuff all the other famous YouTubers say, because we want to be famous too. Please.
Yeah, because right now it's just the baby goats that are famous, not us.
Right, I want to be famous.
Do you?
I mean, like, I want the money.
Me too.
All right, bye guys.
I think goats either.
What is that timer for?
Opening the gate over there, going to the emu pen. Closed it earlier for feeding baby goats making a video. Why is hypocalcemic so hard to say?
It is a hypocalcemia and hypocalcemic. It's a weird word.
Yeah, very much so.
All right.